Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian. I'm streaming to you from beautiful Budapest. I hope everybody is having a good week. In this class, we are looking at an IELTS reading practice, and we're going to look at how to answer for those nice high bands. Band 9, getting that perfect score or near perfect score. It's 39 or 40 out of 40 questions for Band 9. And of course, as usual, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com. I'll just put the URL up here so that you can see it at any time. And our general IELTS website, which is gieltshelp.com. On both of our websites, you have lots and lots of materials to help you get those high band scores, improve your English, and your communication skills. I'll quickly show you what these sites look like while we wait for some of our members to join in. This is our academic IELTS website here with the blue background. You can click that big red button to join the premium package there. And this is the general IELTS website with the green background. And you can push that big red button to get the premium package, get our practice exams, our HD videos for all sections of the IELTS exam, as well as an interactive course and mobile applications. So lots and lots of goodies there for you. We're British Council Registration Centers partners with Saudi Arabia. So if you're in Saudi Arabia, then you can register for your exam with us as well. And we're going to be finding some more partners around the world in other countries so that you can register from just about anywhere. That's our plan for this year. Okay, everyone. So let's get back to it. I see the members are coming in now. Hi, Jainil. Hi, Abhishek. Hi, Preeti and Pweeti and Ois. Good to see many members joining in. All right. If anybody has questions, you can always contact me by sending me an email to adrian@aehelp.com. Hi, Abhiman. Good to see you in class. This is a reading class, everyone, so make sure to read as well as communicate and do the work together with me. So right now, reading. Everybody is welcome to watch. To become a member, click the join button beside the subscribe button. And then after this reading class, in about 90 minutes, we will have a listening part 1 and 2 practice for everyone. All right. So let's get into today's reading. Here we go. All right. Let's get that into a bigger view so we'll get it as big as possible so you can read as legibly as possible. Okay, so there it is. This is our reading passage for the day. Can everybody see that okay? Members, is the brightness okay? If it's too bright, let me know. If it's okay, it's clear for you, that's perfect. Again, remember everyone, this is a low latency stream, so we can interact with each other in almost real time. That's why it's a bit choppy and lower resolution, okay? I think many people don't know this, but live streams have 3 settings: high latency, medium, and low. When you see those good YouTube live streams where it seems like a normal video, it's because it's high latency. You actually have about a 30-second, if not more, separation from the real event. In these low latencies, like this class, you only have a few second separation, okay? All right, Jainil says a little dark. Jainil, maybe I'm a bit dark, but the screen I think is bright. Ois says it's okay. All right, so good. Okay, let's get into it. This title, always read the title. It's a really bad idea to just skip the title. So let's read the title. It's Music and Technology. Are we really hearing the artist? Okay, are we really hearing the artist? That's what we're looking at here. I'll do that. Maybe it'll be a little bit better. Okay, Preeti says it's a bit bright, so let's do this. Okay, maybe it'll be easier on the eyes. Okay, so are we really hearing the artist? First thing first, when you read the title, you should think about what it means, what the passage will be about. This is basically a very brief summary of the passage, and the IELTS is usually pretty good at giving a good title so that you can get an idea of the passage before you start reading. Definitely do that. It will help your understanding. Okay? So, when you read music and technology, and then this little question, are we really hearing the artist? What do you think about? So what comes to mind? What is it that comes into your mind? So give me some ideas here. When you visualize and think, well, what is this? Why is this? How is this? Give me some information. So Abhishek, is music really by the artist, or is it made by technology? Like, what do you mean, Abhishek, by technology? Ois says, how technology develops music. Ois, it's not bad. Instead of thinking questions, think about answers. So instead of saying how technology helps develop music, give an answer to that question. Okay, Abhishek says using software. So using software, music is made to sound different than the original artist. Okay? You want to ask some follow-up questions, right? Like how? How is software used? What does technology do? Preeti says technology enhances the beauty of music. Preeti, let's be even more precise. So technology enhances the sound of music, right? So technology enhances the sound of music. Why, Preeti? Why does it enhance the sound of music, and how does it enhance the sound of music? So Janil says technology overshadows the artist's natural performance. Let's be more specific. The singer's natural. How? How can you overshadow the singer's natural performance? So what might happen? So always think more, right? It is not the real voice of the performer. Okay? And how do they do that? So how would you change it? So Preeti says it elaborates the singer's voice. It covers up slacks in the singer's voice, right? So Preeti says we can hear the song as a remix. Abhishek says using beats and digital instruments. Janil says editing software and instruments, right? Okay, yeah, so controlling the voice of the singer, Ois, absolutely, good. So students, when you read the title, you have to think about this essay at least with these kinds of ideas. When you think about these ideas, then you're going to understand the passage much better. To do that, right, what you have to do is you have to ask what, why, how about the title, and think of follow-up questions to your thoughts. Okay, so go further down the rabbit hole. Okay. Remember this idiom. Think about it. Go further down the rabbit hole. So don't just think about the title on the surface, like technology and music. Okay, people are using technology to change the sound, but go into further detail. Go down that rabbit hole. So why are we changing the sound? What's the reason for this? How are we doing it? What kind of software is this? Okay. Janelle's asking, what if I don't know about the title? What do I do? Don't panic, Janelle, okay? It's definitely not a good situation, Janelle. I won't lie to you. Ideally, you understand the title. So if you don't understand the title, start with a different passage is my first suggestion. But if you don't understand the title, Janelle, okay, if you do not get the meaning of the title, don't panic, okay? A lot of students go, whoa, I have no idea what the title means. How will I understand this essay? Panic. Don't panic, okay? Instead, review the questions that contain information from the passage to get a better idea. And that's what we're going to do right now. Okay? So you move to the questions to get a better idea. Okay? Yeah, I know, Janelle, sometimes there's some technical words that are new, and you have to figure out what that technical word means, right? So you move to the questions of the passage. So you go, okay, I didn't get the title. Let's check out the questions. Maybe that will help me figure this out a little bit. So we go to the questions, and here they are. So read with me. Reading passage 1 has 6 paragraphs. A to F, which paragraph contains the following information? Note by the way, NB. Note by the way, you may use any letter more than once, which means that some of these might, or multiple of these, might come from the same paragraph, okay? So go to the questions, Janelle. All right, this type of question, it's all in the passage because it's contained in the passage. It's not in order. It's extremely hard to try to answer this with skimming and scanning, so that will not work, okay? So let's read these. Now at home you want to paraphrase these as well, okay? For now we're just going to read them. So number 28, an example of an imperfect artist. So here you would think, okay, an instance of a singer that makes mistakes. An instance of a singer that makes mistakes, okay? Or a case of a singer that makes mistakes. The usage of tone correction software for the aesthetic experience. So using computer programs that correct the tone to make the song more beautiful, okay? So paraphrase as much as you can, okay? If you can't do it as much as me, that's totally fine. Do it as much as you can. Eliminating mistakes is the goal of humanity, okay? So making everything perfect is the number one aim for people, right? A key moral difference in the usage of tone correction software. A sports analogy, right? An example from sports. Lack of clarity about what a concert goer is really hearing. The origins of tone correction software. Okay, so where does tone correction software come from? The origins. All right, so we read those. Now, Janelle, even if you didn't understand the title, once you read these questions, you're probably realizing, okay, this passage has to do with using computers, using software to make songs more beautiful, more perfect, right? So now you get that idea, right? Okay, now here we have multiple choice questions. What should we do with the multiple choice questions? Okay, so when you see these multiple choice questions in your reading passage on the exam, what do? What's your immediate strategy for this? Yeah, so Abhishek says just check the questions or read only the questions, right? Because there's a lot of extra false information here, right? Only one choice is correct. So it's a bad idea to look at the choices. That's just a lot of extra unnecessary information. So just read the questions, okay? What's the strategy for multiple choice? So when you're solving multiple choice, then what is the strategy? So how do you answer multiple choice? What's the What's the first step when you want to answer multiple choice? So I'm happy to see that everybody's realizing, okay, you just read the questions, not the answers, right? And then what's the strategy for solving multiple choice? What's the correct method as opposed to the incorrect method? So what do you need to do? And this is true both in the reading and in the listening for the correct. Apiman says it comes generally in order. It might, yeah, which is good to know. It's not guaranteed though, Abhiman. There's no rule that it will. It oftentimes it will. Puiti says, look out for nouns, verbs, keywords. Yeah, I think that happens naturally, Puiti, and they're usually paraphrased. So you're looking more for the paraphrasing than you are for the actual keywords. Yeah, Abhishek, very good. So you give your answers, give the answers yourself before looking at the option. Yeah, Janil, first think of the answer in your own words and then match. Okay, yeah, very good, Ois. So nice answer, Abhishek, Janil. Ois, good. That's what you want to do. So think about your own answer, then match the correct answer. Don't start reading the questions. That will become confusing if you haven't thought about the answer. Okay, good. Now, one step you can do when you review is change the question to a statement. So what does tone correction software do? So tone correction software, okay, so instead of a question, tone correction software does this, okay? And I would probably already think fixes something with the singer, right? So it becomes intuitive. So change the question to a statement so that your mind is thinking about statements rather than questions. Okay, it's just a more effective way to catch the answer. Thanks for that super chat donation, Noor. I appreciate that. To become a member, you have to click the join button. If that's what you're trying to do, let me know in an email if you don't see the join button, okay? All right, so here we go with 36. How did rudimentary usages of the software differ from modern usages? Now, let's say some of you are saying, whoa, 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 Adrian, what's that word rudimentary? I don't know it. Okay. Think about the content or the context here. So software differ, right, from modern usage. So you see the word usage there as well, right? So you can guess that the word rudimentary, what does it mean? What do you think is the meaning of rudimentary? Yeah, so Janil says maybe it means like older. Yeah, older or basic. Okay. Stay calm, stay focused. You can figure out the meaning or the meanings of words, okay? So it means older or basic. So the basic usage, older basic usage of the software from its modern usage. Yeah, very good, Millen. So Millen said traditional. Traditional is a nice synonym for rudimentary in this case, okay? So don't panic when you see a new word. Try to figure it out, right? Okay, so number 37. How do artists like T-Pain and Cher use the software? So T-Pain and Cher uses music software or music technology too. Okay, I'm changing it to a statement in my mind. Okay. All right, and then we have 3 more questions, 38 to 40, true, false, not given. We don't worry about those. Those are not good to read before the passage. It could be false, false, not given, so don't read that. It's a waste of time and it's confusing. Okay, fantastic. So now we have a pretty clear idea about the passage. It's going to talk about the software used to make music sound different and how this worked in the past, how we use it today. We're going to have some examples. The first set of questions said that this paragraph contains an example. One of the multiple choice already said T-Share or Cher and T-Pain, so it gave a couple examples, so we're looking for those. Okay, cool. Any questions so far before we start reading, members? So any questions about what I explained, or any questions on how to interpret the passage, or what's a good strategy, what's a bad strategy? So take a second. If you have a question, ask me. And then if we have no questions, then I'll just start reading. So I'll give you a second to think about that before we read. You should not answer questions while you read. I know that's one of the common questions is, should I answer questions as I'm reading? No. You can do it in general IELTS for the first two reading sections, but not the third section. In the academic IELTS, you should never answer questions as you read or while you read, unless it's list of headings, and we don't have that one today. Okay, so the only question that you should answer while you're reading is list of headings. Millen's saying, what's the best way to understand what the passage is trying to say? So, Millen, we're kind of doing that already by thinking critically of the title and the questions. Of course, visualize, right? So, it's a good question, Millen. Okay, so what is the best way to understand the passage? Okay, number one, visualize the information. Make yourself a part of the information. So here, the example would be, I am a singer and I have audio text, changing my voice and music. So I make myself a part of the information, Milind. When we become a part of what we read, it becomes much more interesting to our brain and we tend to understand it much better. So we want to be a part of the information. And then the second part of this answer is read actively, which means always think, what is this paragraph about? What explanations and examples does it provide? Okay, so think about each paragraph in that way. Okay. Abhiman says, while reading the passage, if I forget the past statement, then what is the best way to read? So Abhiman, your question is actually the same as Milind. Okay. So Milind is asking best way to understand, and you're asking what if I forget? They're basically the same question from different angles. This is how you can understand and remember the information, by making yourself a part of the information. But of course, students, you have to practice this often in your day-to-day reading before you read the passage in the official exam, because you can't just suddenly start doing this. Okay? Abhishek says, what if it's an abstract type of passage? It's difficult to be a part of that passage. Abhishek, yes, that's very true. That's why abstract passages are much, much more challenging. In that case, you can visualize that you are the writer or the philosopher, and you have to apply the abstract ideas to the real world. So you have to create reality from the abstract. Okay, it's quite a big question, Abhishek, but that's the basic answer. Okay, all right. Oa says, usually the three topics differ from each other as random topics, and is there a difference in the size between the parts? Do you mean, Oas, I think the three different passages? Yeah, they're usually very different passages, Oas. So as Abhishek's saying, some of them are physical, like talking about pyramids or tigers, and some of them are very abstract, like talking about philosophy or psychology. So yeah, they're very different, and they increase in difficulty. Okay, everyone, so some good questions there. Good questions. All right. Here we go. So let's start reading. Let's do this together. We'll do active reading a little bit just to show you that, and visualization just to show you that. Okay. And then we should be able to do a good job. Okay. So music and technology. Now, this is reading, so read with me. Okay. Are we really hearing the artist? The pursuit of perfection is one of the driving forces behind humanity. But is perfection really the right goal? Can perfection even be a bad thing? Some music critics think so. Through the use of software that automatically corrects incorrect notes, today's musical artists are no longer giving us a real version of their voice. We hear an idealized or perfect version of their voice, driven by the quest for perfection. It seems we may have lost some of the soul and humanity of previous musical eras. Okay, so here you should, when you're practicing at home, think, okay, what is this paragraph about? So what is this paragraph about? In a simple way, what is this paragraph about? Okay, this is active reading. This is what you want to practice, ladies and gents, to really remember what you're reading and answer the questions quickly. So what is paragraph A about? Concise, in a short way. How would you summarize that paragraph in your own words? Okay, so how would you summarize that? I'll type up what I think and then we'll see if it matches, okay? Okay. Preeti says the loss of the first-hand musical artist. Real voice of music is lost. We lose the original voice of music. Rajveer says it's a question. Are technological advancements really needed in music? Rajveer, always try to give a statement instead of a question when you're summarizing the paragraph. Milind also, what makes musicians use such software? Okay. Romain says, seeking perfection may alter genuine humanity. Very good, okay? That's the best one I've read so far is Romain's. Romain says, seeking perfection may alter the genuine humanity of music or natural voice. Yeah. Ois says, humans cannot be perfection. I don't think so, Ois. I don't actually think it says that, okay? Ina, very good. So Ina says, making notes perfect with software, not giving the real sound. I think, so if I have to vote here, I would say so far, Ina and Romain have the most accurate summary of this paragraph. Puiti, also very good. Quest for perfection in music. This is mine. Humanity's quest for perfection in music may actually be counterintuitive. Okay, counterintuitive means the opposite of what we desire. Okay, so the opposite of what we want. I kind of wrote you the definition here. Counterintuitive usually refers to a bad situation, meaning the opposite of what we want. Okay, all right. Noor, thanks again for that super chat donation. I always do appreciate those. Okay, cool. All right, so why? Notice the first part here, pursuit of perfection is one of the driving forces of humanity. And then here it says that is perfection the right goal? Can perfection be a bad thing? So there's a lot of things about perfection and then perfection being bad, right? So that's the most accurate summary. Okay, let's keep going. Now, you want to, again, practice this regularly, okay? Active reading. Paragraph B. Music from 50 years ago, even by the greatest singers, is riddled with small errors, flat notes, poorly matched harmonies, and other imperfections give the work a certain human quality. But in the 1990s, computer software was developed that could correct these small imperfections. it would take a flat note and raise its pitch to where it was supposed to be. Likewise, a sharp note was lowered to its appropriate pitch. In its early years, this automatic tuning software was rather rudimentary and resulted in an artificial and electronic sounding tone. It was very obvious to the listener that they were hearing an edited human voice. Soon, however, the software was developed to the point a song could be corrected and the audience would not know. Okay, what is this paragraph about? Okay, so again, ask yourself, what is the paragraph about? And then answer it in a short, concise, clear, and complete way. So what is paragraph B about? Give me the best, shortest answer. Abhiman close. I think there's a little missing part, Abhiman. But Abhiman says, evolution of technology and music. Preeti, that's good. So Preeti says, development of software for music perfection. That's the part, Abhiman, that's missing, is that it's correction software. There's actually a lot of different kinds of software we use in music to create sounds and so on, but here it's correction software, right? Okay. Ois says how the software made a difference in music. I think, again, Ois, it's a question that you're stating there. You want to state a statement. Okay, so like Abhiman and Preeti, don't use how or when, but instead use a statement. Okay, Rajveer says earlier music and advancements in music correction software. Rajveer, that's really good. That's a statement. So Rajveer says the evolution, I'm going to take a couple of yours, evolution of music correction software. Okay, the evolution of music correction software from the early years, if I want to be very specific. Okay, all right, good. So that's what we want to do. That's what we want to practice. Let's go to paragraph C. Some artists use the tone correction software itself for aesthetic value. That is to say, they believe the resulting sound of rudimentary and electronic sounding corrections is aesthetically pleasing. Most music critics do not have a problem with this type of usage. Cher, the original artist to use correction software, successfully used it in this fashion. The American hip-hop artist T-Pain is notorious for using the software for this aesthetic effect. Okay, what's this about? Okay, so what's this about? I'm going to type up my answer. Let's see if it matches yours, okay? To make music sound more electronic and better. There we go. Okay. Abhishek says tone correction software. Abhishek, I don't think it's specific enough. Preeti says it's tone correction software for aesthetic use. Yes, Preeti. Very good. Preeti, you're nailing it. Good job, Preeti. Have you been practicing this, Preeti? I think you've learned this from me before. And I'm just wondering, because it looks like you've been practicing, because you're coming up with some very nice, concise answers to what the paragraph is about. And when you do that, you'll find answering the questions very fast and accurate after. So have you been practicing this, Preeti? It's a genuine question. Okay. Preeti says the software makes music more beautiful. Yes. And think it's a couple examples, right? So it talks about Cher, it talks about T-Pain. So very good, Preeti. Yeah, practice shows. So we can see when somebody's practicing. Absolutely. Good job, Preeti. All right. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, so a couple of examples to use editing software to make music sound more electronic and better or beautiful. That's in my own words, okay? And maybe some of you have heard this Cher or T-Pain. I know Cher's got that song, Do you believe in life after love? Do you believe in life after love? And it's very electronic sounding, so if you've heard it, you probably know what's going on here even better. I'm going to stop singing now before your ears start to hurt. Okay. So, good. Be accurate, be concise, you'll answer quickly. Okay? You're very welcome, Preeti. It's good job on your end, so keep it up. Okay, here we go with paragraph D. So, why is it okay for artists like Cher and T-Pain to use the software, but wrong for others? The answer is that Cher and T-Pain are not trying to deceive anyone. They are not presenting their songs as the product of their voices alone. Other artists, however, do present automatically corrected songs as their own. This is morally problematic since they are intentionally deceiving their audience. It is this deception that is one of two major points against the usage of software. Okay, what is this paragraph about? The ethical dilemma in changing music to deceive the audience. That would be my answer, okay? So the ethical dilemma or the moral dilemma, the moral problem, the human problem of tricking the audience to think they're hearing the artist when they're not. Okay, so lots of ways to say it. You just need a concise answer. Yeah, so deception in the software usage, and it's morally wrong, so it's ethically wrong. Yeah, Rajveer, I don't know if it's the reasons T-Pain and Cher are exempt for using the software. I think that's a little bit indirect. I think the more direct summary of this paragraph is it's morally questionable or morally wrong to use software to trick the audience to thinking that it's the real artist or the real sound of the artist. I think T-Pain and Cher, Rajveer, are just examples to kind of emphasize that dilemma or that problem. Okay. All right. Here we go with paragraph E. The second point, okay, so whenever you see this in the reading, remember, first point, okay, deceiving the audience. Second point. So the second point against, and you can remember too that this is paragraph D, so 4 and 5. Paragraph 4 is point 1. Paragraph 5 is point 2. It's good to keep that in mind because it will help you organize the other paragraphs. Okay, so paragraph 4 was point 1 against using the software. Paragraph 5 is the second point. First point was tricking the audience. Let's see what the second point is. The second point against using the software is that it actually has the opposite effect to that intended. Rather than reaching perfection, it has gone too far and become robotic. One can compare analogously to a game of football. People watching football and other sports love to see great players play and perform incredible athletic feats. We love greatness, but we do not desire perfection. Nobody wants to watch a football game played with perfect football playing robots. The idea is absurd because it removes the humanity of the sport. And so it is with music. In making a song sound perfect, the singer is turned into something of a robot, devoid of all musical soul. The small imperfections are what give great songs their individual character. Mick Jagger of the Rolling Stones, for example, is notoriously prone to off-key notes, but this is part of who he is as a singer and what makes him great. An automatically corrected Mick Jagger would the critics say be inferior to the real thing. Okay, so what is this paragraph about? Well, this paragraph is the second point against correction software, that it actually makes singers sound robotic, which is less amazing than the real singer who makes mistakes. Okay? All right, so point 1, point 2. Okay? All right, here we go. Last paragraph. Read it with me. We have no way of knowing which artists use the software and which ones do not. Unfortunately, this software can now be used instantaneously, and as such can be used in live performances. The next time you attend a concert, you might wonder to yourself if you are really hearing the artist or if you are actually hearing a kind of robot. Furthermore, you may lament the fact that if the artist is indeed using the software, you may be missing out on what might be an incredibly soulful, if imperfect, human voice. What is this about? It's a conclusion. It's got a very strong take-home message. It's telling the reader that, unfortunately, there's no way nowadays to know what's going on with the singer's voice because the software is used in real time. Okay, so, and of course I hope, just a little backtrack here, of course I hope that in paragraph E here, you were really visual with the football analogy, so robots playing football, okay, the perfect football game. Everybody would probably turn off their TV and say, man, that's kind of boring. Okay. So, here we go. Students, let's do this together. Paragraphs A, B, C, D, E, and F. You can use any of these more than once. Number 28. An example of an imperfect artist. Who was that? Let's see if you remember. Who was the artist that makes mistakes? Very, very famous artist. Legend, a living legend in the world of music. Millen says Mac. Ina says Mick. Ina says Jagger. Mick Jagger. Yeah, not T-Pain, not Cher. It didn't say Pui-T and Romain that Cher or T-Pain are not perfect. It said Mick Jagger is notorious for being imperfect, right? So which paragraph was that? Mick Jagger. Mick Jagger is the lead singer of the Rolling Stones. He's very, very famous. He's quite old now. Which paragraph was talking about Mick Jagger? Okay. Very good, Milind, Abhishek, and Ina. It was E. Okay, we just read it, right? So always pay attention to the descriptives, okay? The adjective imperfect artist. There's three artists here, Cher, T-Pain, and Mick Jagger, okay? So it's one of these two. Hopefully you had all three of these people in mind, and we know the one that's imperfect is this one, and we just read it, right, with that second point. Now, even if you're not thinking about the artist, Mick Jagger, you should have been thinking about that second point in paragraph E, right? So, the small imperfections are what give great songs their individual character. Mick Jagger of the Rolling Stones, for example, is notoriously prone to off-key notes, but this is a part of who he is, so that's the answer there, okay? All right. Okay. Let's keep going. The usage of tone correction software for the aesthetic experience. Now, if you got this one, you'll probably get this one correct pretty quick. Okay. So, who was that? What was that? Okay. So, Janiel says, I think that was paragraph D. Rajveer says D. Remember that E was talking about the second point, right? So point 2 of why it's bad. The first one was talking about point 1, that it's ethically wrong. Okay, point 2 was saying it sounds bad. Okay. So I think the correct one, Rajveer says it's Cher and T-Pain. And which paragraph talks about Cher and T-Pain? Ina, very good. So Ina says, hey, that was paragraph C. Okay. And I agree, Ina. And students, keep in mind that these passages, I don't have them memorized either. We have lots of them. I'm just really keeping an order in my head, right? So A introduced the idea, right? B told us about the origins. Okay, so this is, let me try to do this for you. Okay, so this is how it all summarizes in my head. B explains the origins. C gives examples of using it for value. T-pain. D gives point one argument against it. It is wrong to trick the audience. E gives point two argument against it. The mistakes actually sound better. And F, we are probably not hearing the artist anymore, and this may actually be less entertaining. Okay, so when I go through all of this information that I read in my head, as I visualized it, and I was critically thinking about it, these are the notes left in my mind as I'm going into these questions. Is everybody on the same page as me? Does everybody have this order of paragraph A to F in their head? If you don't, it's totally okay. This is my job. This is what I do every day. This is what I teach. I promise you that with some practice over 1 or 2 months, doing this regularly with all of your passages, you will do the same. You will very quickly get this kind of listing of main points in each paragraph. Okay? And when you have that, you can answer these questions very quickly, okay, without reading. All right? Good. So I can see that. Yeah. No, we got it. Okay. All right. Great. Okay. Pursuit. It's tough to multitask and do spelling in English at the same time. All right. So here we go. Back to the questions. Okay. So an example of an imperfect artist, E. The usage of tone correction software for the aesthetic experience, C. Eliminating mistakes is the goal of humanity, A. A key moral difference in the usage of tone correction software, D. A sports analogy, E. Lack of clarity about what a concert goer is really hearing, F. The origins of tone correction software, B. Okay? That's the speed that you can do it at when you have that list in your head. Okay? I promise you I have no answer key here, and I'm very confident in all of my answers. Okay? So that's what you want to do. You want to get to the level where you can answer these questions confidently, relatively, with that level of speed. Okay? I know you're thinking, well, yeah, okay, in English, right? But for many students, they'll say that, hey, even when I'm doing this in my own language, I get stuck with these kinds of things. So again, remember, active reading, and you'll go through these very, very quickly, just like that, okay? And of course, if you're not 100% sure, then check. Okay. So what does tone correction software do? In your own words, what does tone correction software do? So here, I would say tone correction software makes the singer sound perfect, changing their tone. Okay? Hopefully that's what you're thinking as well. Okay? So, yeah. So Abhishek says, corrects the original voice of the artist. Very good. Janelle says, improves the mistakes of the artists. Ina says, corrects imperfect notes. Yeah. So let's see if any of these matches. Correct imperfect notes. Turn humans into robots. Turn poor singers into great singers. Correct sharp notes by making them flat. What is the best match? A. Very good. Yeah. Corrects imperfect notes. Okay. Doesn't necessarily correct sharp notes, because maybe the sharp note is the correct note. It doesn't necessarily make poor singers into great singers. I don't think that tone correction software would make me great. I think there's a bit more needed than that. And it definitely doesn't turn humans into robots. That's just silly. Okay, so A is the best. All right. Okay, how did rudimentary usage of the software differ from modern usage? So how was the early use of this software? Okay, that's the next question. I'm going to just put it down here so you're not picking the answer. How did the early use of the software differ from the later use? You should have a very clear answer for that one. So how was that different? Cher and T-Pain should be coming into your thoughts here. So early use of the software. How is it different than the later use? Give me a nice answer here. What was different? Abhishek says there was an electronic sounding tone. Ina says they were more robotic. Now you cannot make out the difference. Yeah, so you cannot hear the difference. Preeti says they were not used much in traditional times. Hear the robot. I seem to remember that it said that in the past they were used to kind of make the music electronic sounding and beautiful, but now that it's used to trick people and change the voice of the artist, right? So they're used now without recognition. So now the audience doesn't. Yeah, there you go. Millen says they weren't used to deceive people. Now it's used to deceive people. Okay, let's see. So rudimentary usage corrected imperfect notes. Modern usage cannot correct live performances. Both usages correct imperfect notes. Rudimentary usage was obvious to the listener. Which one do you think is the best answer? You're always looking for the best answer. And there is one that matches with our answer for sure. Okay. So Rajveer says that was D, right? So in the past, we knew that their voice was being changed by the software. Yeah, absolutely. So D is correct. Okay. All right. How do artists like T-Pain and Cher use the software? What did the passage say? I think we just talked about that. So 36 and 37 are very similar. T-Pain and Cher used it to make themselves sound electronic, to kind of change their voice into a robotic sound, right? So which one of these is the closest match? Okay. Which one of these is the closest match? To negate aesthetic merit, for aesthetic effect, to improve their quality of sound, to avoid the immorality of using modern tone correction software. A, B, C, or D for this last one. Rajveer says, I think it's B, for aesthetic effect, to make it sound kind of different and exciting. Yeah, the correct answer is B. Okay. So for aesthetic effect, to make it sound more weird and beautiful. Okay. All right. Just listen to some Cher and you'll get what I'm talking about. So B is the correct answer for that one. All right, students. So here we have 3 true, false, not given questions. I don't have enough time to go over these with you in detail, so I won't rush it. But here are the questions. So many artists present tone-corrected songs as their own work. A lack of perfection can improve the quality of a song, and the software can be used by those in the crowd to tone-correct a live performance. Try those on your own. You can send me your answers, and I'll send you the correct responses for that. Hope you had a good time in the class. I'm going to get you back on screen here. Even my camera fell asleep here, so just give me a second. So hope you learned a lot of good strategies, especially about active reading and how to keep an order in your mind about the information that you read, okay? And make sure to practice. Practice makes perfect, okay? So practice this skill of active reading and summarizing each paragraph appropriately, okay? You're very welcome. Coming up in 30 minutes, everyone, listening practice for part 1 and part 2. You're welcome, Millen. You're welcome, Abhiman. Thank you for those super chat donations in this class, and hopefully I'll see you in 30 minutes. Everyone, check out aehelp.com for academic IELTS and geltshelp.com for general IELTS. I'm Adrian, signing out for the next 30 minutes, and then I will be back with another lesson. Hopefully I'll see you there. Okay, bye for now.